so much for that theory. Trying to do that in one video was not going to happen. Unfortunately, I have 15 minutes, and with that many games, it just apparently was a two-parter, inevitably. And I did want to mention, man, when I took out all these games, look at all these empty holes behind me. I had to move boxes over, and there are holes there, and there's holes there, and there, and wow, I have a lot of Final Fantasy stuff, I really do, and I think I underestimated that on the first video, how much I do have. So, welcome back, gamers. This is Nintenjoel. This is part 2 of my Final Fantasy collection, if you did not see that from the title. That makes you very unobservant, but welcome anyways. So we left off on the PlayStation 1 with Final Fantasy IX, one of my favorite games ever for it. From there, the sequel and the series kind of dropped off a little bit for me as far as my attention span towards it. Final Fantasy X for the PS2 had very good graphics, and it had very good music as well. My problem with it was they changed the battle system, and this forever is where they changed the battle system, and it just wasn't quite as Final Fantasy-ish to me. Though still a good game, and one that I look forward to playing a little bit more of. I just need to have a little bit more of an open mind. And the same goes for the next one, which is Final Fantasy XII. Final Fantasy XII looks like a great game, but I've never actually played it. I know the battle system's also different from the old games. But from what I hear, this is actually a pretty decent game. And you may have noticed I skipped Final Fantasy XI, and that is because that is an online-only game, and I am quite the antisocial gamer, so I will not be playing Final Fantasy XI anytime soon. Anyways, back to Final Fantasy XII, and this is the metal case special edition, and it has a DVD full of bonus features, interviews and such with the developers, and you know, all kinds of stuff. Pretty cool presentation, but again, I have not actually played Final Fantasy XII, probably more than 5 minutes. Okay, so that was it chronologically. That is Final Fantasy 1 through 12. After that, 13 and above, I just don't have much interest in newer gen games. I know that may sound snobbish of me, but it's just not the same. I feel the old games, the story and the way the music was done and the flow of the game was a lot better back in the day. I really do feel that older games are where it's at. And that's very obvious when you look at my collection behind me. So, we're going to go backwards in time a little bit because these are the offshoots of Final Fantasy. I'm going to start out with the oldest one here. And this offshoot is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for the Super Nintendo. Boxed copy that I have in very good condition. No manual, so if you happen to know anybody with a Final Fantasy Mystic Quest manual, let me know. I might want it from them. But anyways, this is a decent game. I don't want to say a great game. That is Japan's version of Hey America, You're Dumb. You can't play our RPGs, so here's a dumbed down version of it, and you don't have to figure out anything on your own. It's all spelled out right in front of you very easily. But again, it still had pretty good music. I will note that the battle system, the way the battle system is laid out, looks a little bit more like Dragon Warrior than Final Fantasy, which is interesting, but not really great or anything. That game is mediocre at best, but still, it's kind of cool to have, and especially a box copy, so, you know. Alright, so from there, we move on to Final Fantasy Chronicles for the GameCube. Same story here. Haven't played it a whole lot, but what I have played, I did actually like. I liked this one. It seemed pretty cool. I haven't really delved into the story a whole lot, but it seemed a little more back to basics Final Fantasy, maybe a little bit more like 9. Fucking save the crystals. There's so many Final Fantasy games, the old ones. Save the crystals, that's your goal. So, after that, I have Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core for PSP. This is a sequel to the much-loved Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation, but the difference being, it's unusual. It's not the same. The battle system's totally different. The music's awesome, the graphics are awesome, The story seemed like it was starting to get pretty decent, but the battle system was different from the original Final Fantasy, more like the newer Final Fantasies, and I just did not understand the developers' need to do that. I really felt that if they were going to make a true successor to Final Fantasy VII, and it would have made this game a lot greater if they had just stuck to the same old turn-based, maybe active time battle system, but still turn-based battle system from the original Final Fantasies. Nonetheless, this is a game that I am very interested in playing more of. This is for PSP, and my PSP broke recently, some of you may know, and I have not had a chance to play this much. Next game I have is the exact same game, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. This is the foil edition. As far as I can see, there is no difference between this and the other one except for that one foil cover. That's it. Exciting. Next we have Final Fantasy Dissidia, and this one I believe is a fighter where you fight people against each other like Final Fantasy characters. I'm not really sure, but geez, this doesn't really look like my favorite. Honestly, I forgot I even had this until I started pulling out games for this video, but definitely interesting. I am going to check it out, but again, no working PSP. Alright, from there we go on to the Final Fantasy Tactics offshoot. This is a tactical RPG, much more like Shining Force, and I scoffed at this at first. Wish I hadn't, because I used to have a black label copy of this game. Now I just have a greatest hits copy. But this is a very fun game, and one of the few games that actually got me into tactical RPGs. It's pretty cool, really cool. Then there was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Pretty much the exact same type thing, except for what got me was the beginning of this game started out in the present-day world, and that was just really killer. This is actually the first one that I really liked of the Tactics games. Final Fantasy Tactics, The War of the Lions for PSP. I only have the UMD for this, and I have not played it much at all. Of course, my PSP is broken. I've mentioned that multiple times, but looking forward to playing that. And winding down, we have Final Fantasy Legend 2 for Game Boy. This is an interesting one. Supposedly, this series started from the Seiken Densetsu series, which is the Secret of Mana series here in America. I have not actually played this, despite the fact that I've had this for years and years and years. It looks pretty cool, though, and I am going to play this eventually. One thing people don't understand, when you have this many games, it's really hard to keep up on the ones that you want to play and beat and really give a lot of time to. I love collecting games. I love knowing that if I want to play an amazing game, I can at any point on a real console. But it also limits the amount of games that I can play per week, per month, per year, whatever. Okay, so the last one I have is not anything really that interesting, but it's the last piece of the puzzle that I have in my collection. Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light for DS. Looks decent. Haven't really played it much. Looks like graphics that are a little more 3D-ish. And the only thing I have left, not game-related, well, not, actual games, Final Fantasy IV guide for Game Boy Advance. My original Final Fantasy VII strategy guide that I've had since I was, probably 19. Final Fantasy VIII strategy guide. Final Fantasy IX strategy guide. This one's awesome, and again, amazing game. This is the one game I am going to leave you guys with to please play. This is an underrated game and needs to be played by many more people. Final Fantasy IX is great. And then Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, I have the guide for that too. Very nice. And the last one is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance in nearly mint condition. I just got this recently with a few other really good guides. I do like collecting these. What do you guys feel about guides? Do you guys collect guides? I certainly do, especially if they're cheap. Sometimes I score these things for like $1. That's it. Holy crap. The holes in my collection, the amount of talking I had to do, the amount of minutes that ticked away on this video, and you guys' patience for sitting through that. That was, I believe, 32 items total. This is going to suck to edit. But nonetheless, there's my collection and something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. If you like collection videos, check out my Castlevania collection video. That one's really nice as well. Please like this video if you liked it. Give me a thumbs up. That is down below. And also down below there's a subscribe button. Please hit that button, and that tells me that more people are watching and that I should indeed make more videos. The more likes and comments and subscriptions I get, the more videos I will make, because I have a ton of ideas for these. That's all I have for you guys today, folks. Keep gaming and have a great day.